live on YouTube just for you. A very, very warm welcome. Now, tonight's a little bit different to what you're normally used to because I thought to myself, I'm doing this on the suggestion of a friend. He said, Scottie, what would be wonderful, he says, if you were to go back on YouTube, because obviously I do a lot of TikTok these days. Everybody's familiar with that because we upload them to the YouTube channel. And obviously it's an hour, and a lot of you are very, very busy. You've got constraints on your time, and you haven't really time to go and watch all of the YouTube videos that are uploaded. But tonight I thought we'll just talk cars, even for a few minutes. So this is the first time that we've popped up, because anytime we've been live on YouTube and we've got, a myriad subjects to talk about, cars are the ones that seem to come up all the time. Everybody's interested. Lots and lots of people are interested at something. There's so many of them in the road. And if we've got challenges and difficulties with them, then some of you might well want to discuss it, see if we can get some experts on to give you advice. Hi, Dinky-Doo. Who's that? Let me just see. Oh, it's Brandon White. Welcome. Lovely to have you with us. You're our first caller tonight, or our first customer, I should say. And we're just going to talk about cars. We've had a lot of laughs on the YouTube lives. This was about a year ago when we're very, very big with the lives on YouTube. And tonight I thought, no, let's just go for it. And if people want to talk cars, let's talk cars. That's not to say we won't talk anything else, because it is Scottie McClue, and I am known as the father of talk radio in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. But do feel free to come and have a chat with us and see what you think. You're very, very welcome. And if somebody's an expert, or they're a very good mechanic, and they'd like to come on and give us a bit of advice about motor cars, about things that are going wrong nowadays, because cars have changed dramatically in my lifetime. Absolutely dramatically. I mean, my first car was a 1952 Austin A40 Somerset 1200cc petrol engine. That sort of thing. So there we are. Lovely to have you with us, and a very warm welcome. J-Dog Gaming, Dinky-Doo, Scottie, I love cars and can't wait to modify ones later in my life when the insurance is a lot lower. Now, what are we talking, J-Dog? I mean, you're talking a 17-year-old, am I right? 17, 18, something like that, trying to insure a car. Have you passed your test? That sort of idea. Do tell us a little bit about it, because people will be very interested. And I thought, I do love the idea, because J-Dog, you've been on before and you've heard us talk cars on some of the YouTube lives, and it gets very, very interesting, and it brings on all our mechanic friends, it brings on our classic car addicts, it brings on just the general motorist who wants to have a little bit of a chit chat about a car. And I think that's an excellent idea. So you're very, very welcome. So I thought we'll just do a program on this and say hi. But if you want to give us just a little bit of rough detail, obviously we're not mentioning any companies or any names or anything like that, but a little bit of detail just on the kind of costs of insurance for young drivers these days. I mean, I think my insurance when I started driving, I'm trying to think what it was. I'm sure it was about 30 or 40 pounds, that kind of idea. And then you could get the absolute minimum third-party fire and theft Road Traffic Act insurance, the minimum insurance that you could drive a car with. And that was known as RTA, Road Traffic Act, the absolute minimum. And you could insure through all the various brokers that were around at the time. Of course, it'll all be done online now. Let's not kid ourselves. There'll be so much of that as well. So I know it's a bit late at night, 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. A lot of you will be very busy doing different things. I don't know who's out and about. I don't know what the situation is with the public houses, the old pubs these days, but if you've got a YouTube account, and you can have a look at Scottie McClue's first attempt at Talking Cars, then you're very, very welcome. So things have moved, because cars in the old days, the steel used to be quite thick, not too bad at all. A lot of aluminium after the Second World War. And then the cars, the mass-produced cars, used to just rust away into powder. So it was really quite difficult to keep them going, I can tell you. So there we are. But if you've got something to say about it, feel free to pop on. Feel free to come and join us and say hi. David Taylor's here. Dinky-Doo, Scottie, absolutely. Good evening, Scottie. Good evening, David. Lovely to have you with us. Here's J-Dog back. I'm 17, still waiting to get lessons. They're a nightmare to get your hands on just now, fully booked. Well, they will be, of course, J-Dog, because the pandemic will have held everybody up. And now that they're starting to loosen things off a little bit, there's bound to be what we call a glut. People waiting to get going. Fantastic. Robert Scrim, Geneva, Scottie, cars, a Volkswagen GTI 12, GTI 2, or a Toyota Celica. Still all these years later, the fastest cars I've been in. Well, absolutely. I can remember one time getting a lift from really an excellent driver. And he had a garage as well. And it was a powder blue Series 1. Yes, J registration, 1971, I think that would be. Powder blue Series 1 Jaguar 4.2. And this thing was really, I mean, very, very fast. Automatic gearbox, very fast. And I saw in the mirror a Morgan come up behind us. And the guy said, do you see it? I said, yeah, I've seen it. And it was a V8 Morgan. And I said, shall we just show him a clean pair of heels? He went, not a chance. That's the fastest British production car at the moment. This was 1971. The Rover V8 engine, the Buick engine in the Morgan. Absolutely incredible, beautiful stuff. So there you are. So that's what we're looking at there. Now then, who have we got here? You'll get there, J-Dog. All the best, says David. Very kind of you, David, and thank you. Absolutely. Just got myself. Here's Jordan's just joined us. Jordan Palmer, lovely to have you with us, Dinky-Doo. Just got myself an RZ. It's a nice wee change. Absolutely. Are you enjoying it? What sort of age group are you around, Jordan? And who's driving the RZZs at the moment? Do tell. Spill the beans, I say. If you've just joined us, a very warm welcome. You're watching Scottie McClue, #FloatI, First Lord of the Internet. And tonight, for the very first time, live on YouTube, the very first time. So I'm not expecting huge audiences, but get the word out there. We're talking cars. Yes, I mean, many a time I've popped up live on YouTube and cars come up in the discussion. 31 here, Scottie, just away, and you are indeed, Jordan, just a boy. But you enjoy that car. I'll bet you worked hard to get it, and it's very, very important. Lovely stuff. There we go. I can remember an old friend saying, get the good jobs, Scottie. That'll get you the big cars. Well, he was right, actually. Although nowadays, are we changing, or is this just being dictated by the powers that be? Are the petrol heads less popular? Is diesel getting phased out? You know, do tell us. Did BMW not make the Morgan, Scottie? I'm sure it was a 4.8. I don't think so. Do you mean, did they engine it? This might be a later thing, Robert, but I mean, Morgans were originally, I think it was a V2 engine, was the original Morgan engine at the front. And the Morgan was a three-wheeler. And then you had 1500s. And then I think you had 2 litres. And then they put the Rover 3.5 in. After that, I don't know. So you can tell me, you see. Dinky-Doo, Scottie, Ivan. How lovely to have you with us. A very, very warm welcome to Ivan, I say to you. Are you going to chapel in the morning to sing Cum Ronda? Do come and join us, guys. You're very welcome. Scottie McClue back on YouTube just for you by popular request. Now, the word obviously isn't out there as yet. Do share it if you can. Share it with your followers and come and join us. This is the very first time we've done it. Dinky-Doo, Scottie. I am, but only for a quick 30 minutes. Iwan, Wonderful stuff. 30 minutes at chapel, just enough time to sing Cumronda and Callan Lan. They're wonderful. This is what we like. Come and join us, guys. If you've just joined us, you're watching Scottie McClue, the First Lord of the Internet, live on YouTube, just for you worldwide. And we're doing the very, very first of our talk programs about cars. So come and join us, because it's always good chat. So there we are. Tell us more about your cars, about your experiences, what car you aspire to, what state do you think the motoring industry is in, what cars are popular at the moment. Do tell 10 to tell 10. Anybody into classics? And we want to talk classic cars. There we are, Land Rovers. I was talking to somebody on my TikTok this week about Willys Jeeps. Anyone ever experienced the Willys Jeep? Little American four-wheel drive, introduced, I think, around 1942. Tremendous. My father drove one. Do come and join us as soon as you possibly can. You're watching Scottie McClue, and we are talking motor cars. And already the wonderful J-Dog ready to get lessons for driving. That's the next thing on his journey. How amazing is that? I saw a Morgan once at the Motor Museum. They're very rare these days. Yes, indeed. But, Robert, I think you can still get a new one. They were hand-built Jags, hand-built cars. Just Jags. Oh, Freudian slip there. Do you remember John Harvey Jones, the industrialist? And he was going around advising companies. And I remember he went to Morgan's and found that they were hand-building motor cars in the old original style with ash framing and things like that. And he was, of course, horrified from a business point of view, but of course from a motor car point of view, outstanding. Wonderful, that's what it's about. And MG, of course, were around. Now, MG just stood for Morris Garages. And of course, that meant that they souped up the BMC cars. So they are what became BMC, British Motor Corporation, then eventually British Leyland. There we go, fantastic. Do come and join us if you've got a comment to make about motors, motor cars, anything at all. Feel free to do so. You're very welcome. And this is our first program, our first attempt about talking cars. So please come on and have a chat with us and say your piece. If you're interested in motor cars, you're very welcome. You've got something to say on here. I'm Scottie McClue, the First Lord of the Internet. That is the big one. Normally I'm on TikTok. Used to do a lot of work on YouTube, but moved on to TikTok. But tonight, by popular request, have decided to pop up and talk motor cars. There we are. Thoughts on electric cars, sir? Jordan. Well, I'm very skeptical about the whole green agenda, because somebody's going to be making a bit of money out of this. These batteries are not so green because obviously they've got very high value metals in them that have to be mined from the ground. Green electricity, of course, is sending electricity into the ground, that sort of idea. So we need to be a little bit wary of the green agenda and not be giving up our petrol and diesel cars too quickly. I know diesel's not the most healthy of fuels, but it's very economic and very good. And of course, in this country, we're all encouraged by the Chancellor at the time to buy diesel cars, and then the government just welched on the deal, went all insecure and not sure, and the motor manufacturers and the motor trade were in uproar with the whole carry-on. So I think politicians need to be very careful about what they're saying, how they're saying it, and when they're saying it, because people do, or certainly did, listen to what the politicians said. But I'm wondering if that's going thin in the ground. But no, electric cars, I mean, you can't go that far in them, you know, I mean, down to the end of the road plus that sort of idea. So I'm a little bit skeptical. The hydrogen, always been very interested in that. There we go. We don't have enough infrastructure to support everyone in electric motors. Keep the petrol pumps in place. Absolutely right. Who's saying that? Jordan, absolutely 100%, sir. Yes, indeed, you are correct. Now, what have we got here? Robert's saying, so we're Rover after MG. Were they separate or were they the same? Did MG not originate from Birmingham? That kind of area? No. MG were in Abingdon in Oxfordshire, Morris garages, because William Morris himself was an Oxford man. He started with a bicycle shop in Oxford. Later he became Lord Nuffield, of course. But William Morris started in Oxford, and MG were Morris garages. So he started off first in bicycles, and then he moved into small motor cars. So you had things like the Morris 8, lovely little car. My grandfather had one in 1932, £100 plus tools. A beautiful little thing. So that was it, the Morris 8. And, you know, they used to just chunter along. They did about 60, 65, I think was their top speed. But you weren't too worried about that. You could buy a manual how to run it. And in those days, you didn't even need a license to drive. So that was that. So during the 20s and 30s, Morris came in, and Morris garages just souped them up. They maybe bored out the inlet manifold and the outlet manifold and popped in an extra carburetor and stuff like that. So your first MGs might have been as low as, there was an MG midget in the 20s and might have been as low as 843, you know, from that point. The Morris Minor, 843 engine in it, the first ones. So fantastic stuff from that point of view. And of course, Austin were doing the Austin 7, very, very popular as well in different forms. So Rover were in Solihull, yes, just outside Birmingham. So you had the Rover company from Solihull, and Rover produced their own cars from the off. So you go right back to, I think, the 1920s. Rover were in business there. The Rover Motor Company, Solihull. Wonderful. So totally separate as well. MG Rover, they were joined much, much later. You know, and then you had the Roots Group, and they bought up things like Humber and Singer and Hillman. Yeah, that had all been separate companies, you see. And Roots, there were people called Roots, William Roots, Lord Roots, fantastic. And of course, it was the Roots that set up in Scotland at Linwood to build the Hillman Minx and the Hillman Avenger and the Hillman Imp and cars like that. Tremendous stuff. And then you had variants. You had the Humber Scepter, of course, and the Singer Gazelle. So Rover were not after, but they were just a separate company altogether. Rover were at Solihull. And then after the Second World War, you had, so you had things like the Rover, I think, what was the first one? I'm trying to think. And then you went into the 75s, you know, because that was the speed they did, 75. That's how they were classified. Tremendous stuff. So that was Rover. Fantastic. Now, how long have we been on? We'll do about half an hour, I think, guys. Talking cars. If you've just joined us, a very, very warm welcome. You're watching Scottie McClue, #FloatI, First Lord of the Internet. And by popular demand, I am back on YouTube, and we are talking cars. So do come and join us if you have an interest in cars, even a passing interest. If you've got a comment to make, come and make it. Why not? And we'll get started, because I can see this being very, very popular. The only reason everybody's not watching right now is because nobody knows about it, apart from you beautiful people that have got alerts for Scottie McClue. How amazing is that? Fantastic. So do come on and join us and make your mark. Be one of the first ever to tune in to Scottie McClue Talking Cars. And Saturday night, is this too late to be doing it, or is this a good time? Do tell me, of course, always very, very popular. We're looking at cars from all ages, anything to do with motor cars, anything to do with the motor trade, anything to do with your experiences. Do feel free to tell me. And can everybody share? Very important. Do get sharing as well. I'm going to try and share, but everybody I might lose you. Stay where you are, I say. There, we're sharing there, and we're just reconnecting. We're back with you, of course. How fantastic is that? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the live chat, and feel free to come on and say your piece. Also, tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 that Scottie is live right now on YouTube just for you, saying Dinky-Doo, with the first of our Saturday night programs on cars. We'll discuss the times, we'll discuss the program. We're very open to suggestions, but I just know that you guys will enjoy it. There we go. Fantastic stuff. Now then, any questions for Scottie McClue on the motor cars? Feel free to come up to me. If I can answer them, I'll answer them. If I can't, I'll put it out to our experts and they will come on. Isn't there some angry listeners this evening? Oh, Jordan, angry on TikTok. Scottie McClue was talking about LBGTQ, and they were horrible, some of the people, quite vile. I'd asked a beautiful, simple question as an olive branch to see if we could join the communities, and they did their nut. So there we are. So that was that. But you'll see it all on the TikTok. That's a separate thing. That's not why you joined me. You joined us tonight so we can look at motor cars. There we are. Jordan is having a good old smile, but there's some very angry people on there going up at a blue light and doing their nut. That's what I say. Lovely to be with you. I've got my trusty water, of course. And we'll do another 9 minutes, I think, tonight on motor cars till the word gets out there. Tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10, and people can come and join us. If you've just joined us, a very warm welcome. Scottie McClue, of course, hashtag FloatI, First Lord of the Internet, all uppercase. And tonight I am presenting a YouTube Live on motor cars. So feel free to come and join us. This is big. Excellent stuff. And I think it will just get bigger. Fantastic stuff. But yes, there'll be a few Mr. Angries and Mrs. Angries out there on Scottie McClue's TikTok tonight, at Scottie McClue. No doubt about it. John says the German cars are still the best in the business. German engineering is very good. The Bavarian Motorwerken, BMW, I don't think they would have realized at the time just how big they were going to be and how welcome their outstanding engineering was. Mercedes, another very, very old name, of course, and because of the Second World War, it didn't take off as quickly as it should have done. But the Volkswagen, the people's car, excellent as well. Early ones, I think, were 6-volt. And started off, I'm trying to think what the engine was in the first Beetles. If it was an 800, I think it was a twin, air-cooled, diagonally opposed. Am I right? So there were, was it a 2-cylinder? I know the deux chevaux, the 2 horsepower, the little Citroen deux chevaux, and the Diane, and the Amy, the Citroën, André Citroën, fantastic, way ahead of his time with suspension and smooth running French engineering. Yes, the bodywork wasn't the greatest feature, but then, of course, you had the Citroën Deus. Yes, the God. That was a belter, I can tell you. There we are. But yes, indeed, German cars. But then you see Japanese cars took over the market very, very well made. Very light, beautiful engineering, the Japanese. And the same with the motorcycles. So that kind of paid. British engineering was always a little bit over-designed, a little bit heavy. The cars were always very powerful, but you couldn't always stop them. So, of course, they had to find the right brakes for them. And brake linings, because of the terrific heat that was created and generated by stopping a big, heavy car at speed, you had to put asbestos in. Then you're into health challenges, you see. Korean cars have taken a huge part of the market in recent years. Yes, and the Japanese cars, the German cars. British cars seem to not really be in the running in any great shape or form. And I would like to see the British motor industry, but they really had labour challenges and labour problems with it, because you go right back to the Argyles. I remember seeing Argyle Motor Company, and I can remember seeing a postcard from, I think it was 1911, what think you of the Argyle Motor shares now? So I don't know if that meant they had plummeted, because Argyle spent a bit too much. If you go out to Alexandria in Dumbartonshire, you'll still see the frontis of the old Argyle Motor Works. Absolutely amazing. Isn't MG now owned and built by a foreign company? I think they may well be, Jordan. Yes, I think that's a possibility. I'm not up on the actual facts of it, but we can check that out for you. So there you are. 5 more minutes, guys, of our first car program, our first motoring program live on YouTube with me, Scottie McClue. Is it going to be a biggie? Only time will tell. But we need to get the word out there, of course, and that is fantastic. So, but do tell, share it yourselves, tell the world and say Scottie McClue is live right now on YouTube just for you, and he's talking motor cars. Yes, indeed. So welcome, 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 I say. So we shall find out about that, though, Jordan, and see what is happening. If you've just joined us, a very warm welcome. Scottie McClue, hashtag FloatHigh, First Lord of the Internet. We're talking motor cars tonight, and we'll be doing that for the next 4 minutes. So strike it lucky. Get in on the very first program with me, Scottie McClue, talking cars. Scottie McClue, talking cars. I say, sorry, I've got somebody else's teeth in tonight. Fantastic. And we will see what is what transpires. We'll get experts on. There's a lot of people on YouTube know about motor cars, and we can advise people who are having a bit of a challenge with a car, what it might be. Somebody will come and tell us. We'll keep the live chat going and have an exchange of that as well. So your job this week is to spread the word and say Scottie McClue has been live on YouTube just for you, Dinky-Doo, and he's talking motor cars. How good is that? Fantastic. Right, who else have we got here? Do come and join us. Pop up a post if you're watching. Say hi. Tell us about your first car. Mine, as I say, was a 1952 Austin Somerset in dove grey, 1200cc engine, big 16-inch 525 by 16-inch wheels, held on by huge brass nuts. And, they were remarkable engines, the kind that had the flying A on the bonnet, the Austin A. Yes, just like that. And you pulled up the flying A to open up the bonnet, and there was this rather diminutive engine hiding well down in the engine compartment. But they were lovely big cars to drive. Column change, 4-speed column change, and reverse. Of course, you had to, I think for reverse, you pulled out the end clip and popped it into reverse. Remarkable. And little round Austin pedals that they even had in the big Princesses, the A135s. My dad's was an Austin Allegro, as we called it, the putt-putt stop. Well, you see, I had an Allegro, but it wasn't really an Allegro. It was an Allegro, and it wasn't. It had the 1500 engine, the same as they put in the Austin Maxi. Good engine, actually. Good, hard-working engine. Gobbled a bit of oil, and you had to watch the oil seals. Didn't pop and get oil on the clutch. That was the problem as well. But it was the 1500 Vanden Pla in chocolate brown with biscuit hide seats. Oh, what a machine. Charlie Andrews, good evening, Scottie, Dinky-Doo. My first car was an Austin Metro, and I had to get the suspension pumped up. Apparently, the term was greasing the nipples. Oh, yes, and if the grease wouldn't go into the nipples, you had to take the nipple out. So somebody shout, well, I just take that nipple out, that grease is no going in. Because when you put the grease in with a grease gun, the power of the grease gun popped down a ball bearing inside the nipple, and you could see the grease coming out of the joint when you'd put enough in. So there we are, lol, fantastic. Greasing the nipples, and the suspension would be, the Metro, it may have been hydrolastic, which was a great BMC Austin Rover thing. Well, Austin Rover would inherit it from BMC. Hydroelastic suspension. They tried it out first in the Minis. So I had an 850 Mini with hydroelastic suspension, and you took it in to get it topped up. My brakes worked better after that, Scotty. Well, it shouldn't have been anything to do with the brakes, to be honest with you, but that's interesting that you say that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a blast. Now, I know it's the first one, so obviously I did a lot of the talking, as you would expect, but spread the word and we'll see what is what. Join me if you see Scottie McClue. Set your notifications for going live so that next week we may also be talking cars. This is Scottie McClue saying Dinky-Doo to every one of you. Ta-ra, lads!